Good morning, everyone. Viola here. Viola Ignites. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today's day 8 of 28 Sparks to Catch Fire. And I'm so happy you're joining me today. I just wanted to welcome you warmly to week two. We're starting week 2 right now. In week 1, we diagnosed the gap between knowing and doing through the parable of the talent. And this week, we're building the courage to bridge the gap. All right. So this week, I'm going to be synthesizing 3 sources: the Bible on fear and courage, Ryan Holiday's book, Courage is Calling, on Stoic philosophy around this topic, and Jenny Wood's Wild Courage, Go After What You Want and Get It. All right. But one truth I want us to explore today is how do you move despite fear, right? So I want us to explore biblical teaching around courage and fear. I want us to explore philosophical discourse around courage, bravery, and fear. And I want us to discuss practical tips to go after what you want and to get it. This is from an ex-Google executive who writes this particularly for women. This Courage is Calling. It's a fantastic, highly recommended. I've read it about 3 times now, and I love it. So I just want to recommend all these things to you because I think that they would help if you want to make some advance in your courage work. All right, so welcome. Let's go. All right. So here's something you need to understand about fear. I think we all need to understand that fear is going to point you towards what matters, okay? The thing you're most afraid of right now, well, that's probably what you're meant to do. Not the little fears. I'm talking about the big fear, the project that like literally terrifies you, that you feel like, oh my gosh, I can't even nurture this thought because I feel all the feels when I get to think about this. That conversation maybe that makes your stomach drop when you think about having it, the risk you keep researching but you're never taking. If it wasn't scary, the thing is, I think everyone would do it. And if everyone could do it, it wouldn't be your calling, right? So your fear is not telling you to stop. I think it's telling you that this thing matters. This thing matters to you, for you. And here's a lie that I think a lot of us believe. I think we think that fear is a stop sign. That fear is a sign that we should stop something. You think if you're afraid of something, your body's telling you, don't do it. But after spending time really just going over some of this material and just sitting in some of this wisdom from the ages, I think that processing fear that way is processing it backwards, right? Because we're not afraid of things that don't really matter. We're really not, right? We're not afraid to scroll Instagram for hours. Guilty. We're not afraid to binge on Netflix, right? We're not afraid to stay comfortable. We're afraid of things that could really change our lives. We're afraid of starting businesses, publishing our writing, having hard conversations, making the leap, taking the offer, right? And that fear, I want to say to you, that fear is a call. That fear is wooing you. All right. It's inviting you. It's calling, right? It's saying, pay attention, right? The Bible is clear. I mean, it said that there's at least 364 do not be afraid in the Bible, right? So it's not that we won't feel fear. It's be not afraid, okay? Which means you will feel the fear. Okay, but you don't have to obey it. You don't have to obey it. Joshua 1:9, as verse all of us know, be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God is with you. God doesn't remove the fear. He says to Joshua, do it anyway. Okay, do what I've asked you to do anyway. And if you think about anyone that has done anything worth doing, they all tell us about the fear that they had. And the difference between them and so many of us is that they pushed past that fear into the action for which we call them heroes. All right, Florence Nightingale, she's very heavily profiled in Courage is Calling. She said she was terrified to go to Crimea. Okay, we're in Black History Month in the U.S. Frederick Douglass, he was scared when he escaped slavery. Okay, Peter the apostle, he was afraid when he stepped out of the boat. They all felt fear, and they all moved anyway, because here's what they understood. Here's what they understood that is instructive to us. That the people who answer the call, they're not fearless. They're just people who decide that fear does not get to make the decision. Fear does not get to make the decision for them. All right, and that's something that we can do. So here's your spark. Let me ask you, what are you most afraid of right now? Be specific. Be specific. Be specific. Don't say I'm scared to start a business. I mean, be specific. I'm scared to make an offer that will be rejected, right? And that might make me feel like I'm a failure, right? I'm scared to publish my writing because people might criticize it. They might say, that's all you got after all this time, right? I'm scared of having this conversation because maybe that person is going to get angry and it's going to ruin the relationship, or it's not going to turn out like I want. Okay. And the reason I'm saying we need to be specific about it, the reason I'm asking you to think about it, write what you're afraid of, maybe even voice note it to yourself. So pick up your phone and hit voice record, voice notes, and speak to yourself so you can listen to it again. Because that thing that you wrote, that's your assignment to process throughout this week. Okay? It's not for next month. It's for this week. It's not for when you're ready. It's for this week. We are spending the next 6 days really just building the courage to do the thing that has scared us for a while. And so I'm hoping that by Saturday, you are going to do it. You are going to do it. You are going to do it. So your action for today is to write down what scares you the most right now, and not be vague. Be quite specific as you can get, because you can't fight what you wouldn't name. What you can't name, you can't fight it. You need it, what you're fighting needs a form, okay? And it's important because many times the thing that we are afraid of doesn't get to be named, and so we don't get to look at it, okay? And the more things stay in our brains, in our hearts, in our minds, they become these imaginary creatures. All right. The minute you're able to write it out, to speak it out, well, then you can look at it and say, this is not the giant that I thought it was. In fact, this is a grasshopper, right? So I really encourage you, please take some time to articulate clearly, what is the thing I am most afraid of in this season? All right. What is the thing that I'm most afraid of in this season? What is the thing that I'm most afraid of in this season? All right. So maybe you're afraid to share your voice because it's different. Oh, that's good. Maybe you're afraid to do something because it's weird. Oh, okay, that's all right. So just write it out, because you need to see what you are dealing with, and you need to see it in the fullness of its proportions, right? Because maybe what it is that has so terrified you, when you look at it on paper, it's not that big. It's really not that big. All right, so we are going to answer that, and I just wanted to lead in with that. Please pull out these fears that have held you in a chokehold, because tomorrow we're going to be talking about conquering fear by naming it. All right. So same place, same time. We're going to explore this from the Stoic perspective, from the biblical perspectives. But the all points to one thing: we want to move despite our fear, right? We want to move despite the fear that has crippled us for a long time, and we want to be clear what that fear is, so we can look at it and see that it's not as big as we've made it. It's not as developed as we think, and the odds are it's really not going to be able to hold us back once we can drag it to the light and take a look at it. So I encourage you to do this little piece. That is your spark for today. All right. Okay. So I am so excited about this series because I've seen how when you explore this concept of courage, when you explore the fact that fortune favors the brave, when you explore the fact that your fears are really not all you're cracking them up to be, great things happen. And I want to just leave with this quote from Seneca. He's one of the philosophers that I really like. He's a Stoic philosopher. And he has this quote. He says, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. We suffer more often in imagination than reality. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." So let the words of this philosopher, wise man, kind of just rest a little bit on you and your situation. That a lot of the suffering that you might be experiencing because of your fear is much more in imagination than in reality, right? So when you're able to look at this thing full in the face, it ends up not being that deadly. It ends up not being that big. It ends up not being the monster that we've made it in our imaginations. Anyway, we'll peel back the layers even more as we go along. I look forward to seeing you here tomorrow. I don't want to stop without thanking you all so much. Thanking you so much for showing up for the live on Sunday. Thanking you so much for liking the videos, sharing the videos, and subscribing to my channel. I appreciate it greatly. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Let's catch fire together.